Hello and welcome to On the Corner, the official podcast of pitcherlist.com. I'm your host, Eric Samulski, joined after a week hiatus.
Yeah.
We're back. We're back, baby. Nick Pollack.
What is happening?
Fresh off 5K.
Yeah, I ran a 5K yesterday. I have not run for 3 years. Such is life. I missed you, buddy.
It's just jogging a bunch of foul poles, after a start or whatever.
Just 12 poles.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It was, I guess work-life balance is important, but it was a bummer not recording last week. But
Yep.
I'm glad we're back and able to do it again.
Absolutely. And, every week I feel like I have things, I just need to regroup them a little bit here and there. And this week, surprisingly, I feel like I got the general gist of the list far faster than I usually do.
The gist of the list.
The gist of the list. How hyped are we for Chase Burns? Asks Big Lloyd. What we're going to talk about him later today. And but first we have the tier and everything. And just so you guys know, you're listening to this on Tuesday. We're watching it live at 7 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesday night on playback.tv/pitcherlist. It's a spotlight stream. Everybody's going to be there. Eric Samulski might be there. I don't know. He's just finding out about it now.
No, I heard you talking about it. Obviously, I keep wanting to call it the First Pitch podcast, but it's not.
I know, so do I.
the Plus Pitch podcast. But I was listening to that today, and I heard you mention it, and I thought, oh, that'll be nice. But I think I'm solo parenting again tomorrow night, and that means
but just like put him in your lap.
Bedtime is a fiasco. But yeah, maybe he'll do the first couple innings with me in the.
Yeah, that'd be actually really cute. Having you play back doing that.
But
guys, look, we're doing that one, and then we're doing Jacob MISIOROWSKI versus Paul Skeens on Wednesday at 2:00, and I'll be hosting that one too.
Let's hope there's not a rain delay and a doubleheader, and then the Pirates decide not to pitch Skeens up against.
Okay, Eric,
Jacob
you know what? Eric, don't do this.
Because it's in the best interest of the team.
Just don't do this.
I hated that so
anyway,
much.
we gotta do this podcast. That's already
we have to do this podcast.
9:30 p.m.
Yes, we're going to try to keep this to a tight hour, but still give you all of the fantasy juice that you've got. Nick, the theme for today. So I am at my parents'.
Yeah.
As you can tell by the different background. Don't you love the Bills helmet? Right.
I love the entire background. Let's be honest, guys.
This is my father's office.
It's a great office.
It's lovely. It's filled with a lot of stuff, but it's great. But so obviously, you're back at your parents' house. It reminds you of when you used to live here. And so I was thinking about high school. And so the theme is high school nostalgia, just different aspects of high school. It could be classes, could be events, could be, things that you were doing in high school, things that, I don't know, parts of high school. Maybe it's free periods. Maybe it was, recess. I don't have recess in high school. But
recess, okay.
Well, maybe it was. I guess I didn't have high school recess, but I used to play basketball in the yard during lunch. But whatever. Sure. Could be could be when the teachers used to roll out the gym teachers used to roll out the TV for March Madness. That could be a great.
Wait, what? Memory. What do they do at Packer?
Your Berkeley Carroll gym teachers didn't roll out the TVs for March Madness?
First of all, in high school, I didn't have gym. Okay.
Well, you had gym teachers.
Sure, but I didn't have gym for there to be. It's fine. You played sports and you didn't have to go to gym. But Look, there is no gym on the list today. All right. There is a James, maybe. I don't know. I'll have to find out.
There might be some birth gyms. We'll figure that out. But none in the first tier. Because the first tier starts with number 1, Tarek Skubal. Number 2, Zach Wheeler. Number 3, Paul Skeens. Number 4, Garrett Crochet. Number 5, Jacob deGrom. And number 6, Max Fried. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
This is honestly me pitching my senior year. That was just like that's number 1, MVP. What up? That's tier 1. Easy. Took down Packer. No problem.
Best memory. Yeah, well, I wasn't there then, so I wasn't there then, so that makes sense. Whoa.
Yeah, but if you were there, he's just knocked over his mic, is what I think he just did. You knocked over something. He's at his parents' place. It really is a better background if you guys are watching this on YouTube.
It's a better background, but the microphone setup is not as good.
Yeah, I don't see it though. If you got that thing right up in your face.
It's here. How's that?
That sounds good.
Yeah, sounds lovely for you. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll
Everybody
make
is
it. We'll
nodding
keep.
their head. Oh my God, what did you just do? It's incredible. It's sugar in my ears.
Yeah. So listen, these guys have all been up here the whole time.
Yeah.
And
There's
you love
nothing
to
we
see
need to say here. We lost Chris Sale, ribs, you know.
it. Yes.
It's
Honestly,
now all of a sudden McDonald's has a new promotion for a new food. I don't know why.
I don't want to put this out into the world, but you may have lost him. You may have lost him for the season. Just gonna throw that out
Oh
there.
man.
The
Yeah, that would be
Braves are
rough.
6 games under 500. By the time he gets back, we don't know if they're going to be selling parts at the trade deadline or not. And they might decide not to rush him back. It's an interesting decision to see, what comes of all of that.
I wonder if an injured Sale gets dealt at the deadline.
I don't know. He's still, I think he has a decent club option for next year, which I think that they would probably pick up. But
Right.
we'll dig into that on another podcast, not while we're talking about the list right now, because
Absolutely.
he's not on it. But who is on it are the pitchers in tier number 2, which starts with number 7, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, number 8, Logan Webb, number 9, Joe Ryan, number 10, Carlos Rodon, and number 11, Robbie Ray. What's this tier called, and why is it called that?
This is the free period. All right. When you go through high school, you eventually get free periods. It's unbelievable. Oh my gosh, what is this? I don't have an endless march from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. No. And these guys are pretty much the free space where you don't think about it. You're just happy to see them.
Are you not worried, but like Yamamoto is not pitching as well as he was pitching early in the year? He's still pitching well. Do you feel like we're getting into like hey, he was injured a lot of last year, and so no,
nothing. There's nothing concerning about Yamamoto. I mean, he allowed a grand slam in one game, and that was the only earned run problem that one. Like, no problem. I also love the fact that he's actually throwing a cutter in the zone now, which I've been hoping he would adapt for a while, because I don't want his four-seamer that isn't going upstairs to be the only reliable strike pitch, with splitters and curveballs as well. So cutter is perfect for him. It's great.
It is. Well, the cutter's perfect for everybody, obviously. Tier number 3 starts with number 12, Hunter Brown. Number 13, Framber Valdez. Number 14, Brian Woo. Number 15, Logan Gilbert. Number 16, Spencer Spellenbach. Number 17, Mackenzie Gore. Number 18, Jesus Luzardo. Number 19, Spencer Strider. And number 20, Kris Bubic. What's this tier called, and why is it called that?
This is the class trip. We took some, and there are some ridiculous stories from those, but like sometimes they're great and amazing. Sometimes you're like, why did we just do this? And it's not, on paper, it's like, yeah, that's an ace, but it's just not quite guaranteed yet.
We went to Baltimore to do Habitat for Humanity's senior year. It's it was good, but I guess I don't know why we needed to go from New York City down to Baltimore. But that's okay. We did it.
We did a trip to Boston when I was in 7th grade, and they stopped doing that trip to Boston after our grade did it.
We did a trip to DC in 7th grade. I remember getting in trouble for jumping on a hotel bed while Lit's My Own Worst Enemy was playing in our hotel room. That's my vivid memory of.
Okay, for a second I was like, "Who's Liz and why is she your...
Lit?"
I know,
Lit.
Yeah, My Own Worst
the
Enemy.
band. Yep. Yeah, great song, by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
Song. Yeah. Let's see. Within this tier, I gotta. Well, first of all, before I get to the last guy in this tier, we're seeing a little bit of a better Spencer Strider, starting to round into form a little bit.
All right, so there are two aspects to Strider, right? It's really fastball or slider. Slider location, incredible, impeccable. In the last 2 games specifically, I mean, yes, Rocky Road, sure, Grant Holmes did the same thing. Blaney did it again, and that's just steered everything correctly. However, Spencer steered, and the four-seamer is at 96 and not 97, and he's not commanding that well. And what's actually kind of interesting is there is a parallel here with Jacob deGrom, who was at 96 instead of 97. He wasn't commanding the four-seamer as well, but the slider was amazing. But now deGrom's at 98, which is hilarious. I think deGrom is honestly just sick of not being the best pitcher on the planet anymore. He's like, I can do this. I don't care. But he isn't spotting his four-seamer as well. So that's why those Jacob deGrom starts are good, but they're just not like, oh my God, you're the greatest ever kind of outings. And I think that will come for him, and it needs to come for Strider. I think it's more of an apparent need for him. I hope it will, but it is different pitching at 96 for Spencer Strider, and also a slower slider, Like, he's really getting by with that location at the moment. So that is still something that I'm looking forward to seeing, hopefully down the road from him. But it means he's not quite that guy yet.
Yeah. And, we mentioned coming off the injury, we didn't know when he would be, quote, that guy. But, it's not as bad as it was before. Maybe he won't be that guy this year. Maybe it'll be next year. Who knows? You're still running him out there in most cases and hoping for the best. I'm curious about KRIS BUBIC. He's 20th here. We know he's obviously been very good. Few hiccups recently. But I was noticing on the lovely PL projections, that is a PL Pro tool, looks at the PL bot, picks and things like that, and gives the PL bot picks and gives a little bit of, what is rankings for the weeks ahead. But just talk to people a little bit about how that works, because it is not super high on KRIS BUBIC this week. And considering you are high on KRIS BUBIC, I'm curious how you rectify some of how that functions.
Well, okay, first and foremost, PL Bot is all through PLV, and Kyle Bland is the guy to talk to about creating those, because he's the one who created the PL projections. It's Nick Pollack versus the machine, okay? All right, so this is what we do in the streaming rankings every day. And I gotta say, it's pretty great to see that there are many days that PL Bot has a different pick than me, and yet we are pretty much neck and neck at this point. I'm up 2 games against the machine. PL Bot beat me last year. I had a horrific September. Oh my gosh. It was so bad. But right now, I still like KRIS BUBIC because I see a lot of things that work well for him. Right now for BUBIC, he has a 16% swing strike rate on his 4-seamer, a 13% on his sweeper, 24% on his changeup, and all of his 5 pitches, including the slider and sinker as well, are above a 60% strike rate. In fact, all of them are above a 65% strike rate. So he's giving himself an opportunity to get through games efficiently. And he's also missing bats as well to get those strikes. A ton of weak contact. The changeup itself, oh my gosh, 15% ICR this year. 15%, Eric. That is incredible. Wow. So the way I see it is that this 4-seamers command really well upstairs. He pairs it well with that changeup underneath. He has the sweeper as a surprise, which same for the slider. It all works well. And I'm in on BUBIC. I think he has good extension also on that 4-seamer, that it gets more out of it. He also does have a solid attack angle, if I remember correctly. And yeah, it's 1.2. That's fine. 17 inches of vert as well. I don't know exactly what PL Bot is looking at. There was a slight decline in the velocity down to 91.8 in the last one, not the 92.5 as we've seen. I'm not worried about that. No, I think we're still very good with KRIS BUBIC.
Let's do it. Fire it up. And then Logan Gilbert is up 11 spots here. I assume this was just trying to be a little tepid coming off the IL, seeing how he looked, and then getting him
at least
back
18 was the first 2 games. Spot. So far so good. And it was Wrigley Field where they allowed 9 between both teams. It was 9 home runs in that game.
That game was wild.
3 allowed by Gilbert, 4 by Colin Ray. Yeah, forget that.
Tier number 4 starts with number 21, George Kirby. Number 22, back off the IL, SHOTA IMANAGA. Number 23, Christopher Sanchez. Number 24, Ranger Suarez. Number 25, Seth Lugo. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
It's just whatever friend group you got. These are the ones that are always there for you. And then you're like, hey, look, I just know when things get tough, these are the guys that I know I can rely on to be productive throughout the rest of the year. And that's what tier 4 is. It's all your hollies.
All your hollies. Question about IMANAGA. He had a really good rehab start. What are your, we tend to not want to use guys right off the IL. It's against the Cardinals, who are a pretty good team, right? Not a team we are running from. IMANAGA, when on, is a pitcher we're probably using against almost anybody. How are you approaching this first start?
Still ill. Generally applies. You're early in the week as well, and you don't really want to put yourself in a massive hole. At the same time, it's not really going to be a giant disaster outing. Just understand that the ceiling is capped more than it usually is. So it's up to you if you want to take that risk at all. I'm going to put him in, I believe it's questionable start is where I have him. It generally leans no, don't start him because of the rules of still ill. where you just don't start guys back on the first game from the IL.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, yes, and oh man, IMANAGA, it's like, I don't know if we're gonna get the home run issues in Wrigley Field again in the summer, but you know, I'm cross my fingers, optimistic on him, and then the rest of these guys are kind of as steady as you get, and then you get into not steady eddies in tier 5, but the guys that are super exciting, starting with number 26 Freddie Peralta, number 27, Dylan Cease. Number 28, Ryan Pepio. Number 29, Jacob Misirowski. Number 30, Will Warren. And number 31, Jack Flaherty. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
I'm going to say this is the exam that you take that you feel good about, but you feel like you study, you feel like you went through the notes of it, you know, you feel okay with it, but you don't quite know what is going to be on the exam, right? And you feel like you're going into like, I think this is going to work. I did my whatever. But man, Professor Chaos can show up. We know this. And you can just bomb that test. Or it could be super sweet. So this is your cherry bomb tier.
We didn't record on Monday, last week, sorry. We didn't get a chance to actually discuss Jacob Misirowski.
Who? Look, Eric didn't buy that. Of course I know J Miz. Everybody's been talking about him, Eric.
In my head, I'm like,
his face.
Did I butcher the pronunciation? And then I'm like, I don't think I did.
I just said his name. Okay.
I think that's right.
Jacob Misirowski. I mean, look, I think we have the same take on this. Yes, he threw strikes in the first 2 games, and yeah, he's unhittable when he throws strikes. That's awesome. Is that what we're going to get? And also, how many innings are we going to get out of Jacob Misirowski throughout the entire year? He's going to be baby to some degree. He went 6 innings in the last one because he was throwing a perfect game, and it's not going to always be like that. He's super hard to hit, though, and all we got to do is just hope that he throws enough strikes that he's able to go 6 or 5 and change. It's so talented, so much talent, so good. Be healthy and throw strikes. Thanks.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, I didn't really know what to expect because I had heard about the command issues in the minors. Obviously, I'd heard that they were rectified, but I wasn't watching a lot of AAA starts this year. I was seeing the stats and seeing the highlights and whatever. That first start was incredibly impressive. And, you know, it looks every bit as good as was advertised. And, you know, we'll see what happens in the coming starts. You know, command issues, especially with a pitcher who's that long and lanky, like it might just be off, right? It takes a lot to get those levers firing, you know, in sync. And one start might just be a bad start the next time out. We don't really know, but the talent was incredibly impressive.
Oh, so much fun. But yeah, I mean, it's really tough because it's only been 2 starts. You can see him have a really bad one next time, and you go, great, where am I supposed to rank him now?
Right. Exactly. Oh, yes. That's the difficult part.
Yeah.
Speaking of ranking and where you go, I want to talk about Will Warren because, and I say this as a compliment to you, not as a knock, but I remember when we were talking about him in the spring, he started off the spring on fire. The first few spring outings, and he was like the next. Oh, everybody, obviously people make the easy comparisons. Oh, he's this year's Luis Heel. He's going to come out of nowhere and have a huge year. And you were a little more tepid on him in the spring. You were obviously noticing some of the stuff that was making it exciting, but weren't like fully bought in. This ranking is a pretty high ranking. And so I'm curious what you've seen in terms of his evolution that has gotten you from not quite convinced to, I'm pretty in on Will Warren.
Well, first of all, in the rotation, one of the big reasons I was out on Will Warren in the beginning was because I was pretty convinced that the Yankees would go with Carlos Carrasco over Will Warren, and they did, because the NRI was just wasted value in not having Carlos Carrasco in Will Warren's spot. I mean, it took all those injuries for Will Warren to get this runway that he has had. But now that he has had it, one of the biggest changes along the way, which he didn't have initially, was this 4-seamer that all of a sudden, I remember saying this to Eno on the craft. It's like, did you notice what Will Warren just did? And it was essentially throwing a lower arm angle four-seamer with a better height-adjusted VAA. He was throwing it harder. He was getting more vert on it. And what we've seen last is, yes, 16 inches of vert now, 1.4 height-adjusted VAA. And what's crazy is that Will Warren now actually has a four-seamer that is good. You're not supposed to. You're supposed to be a sinker, sweeper, change guy with your biggest weakness being lefties, but now he can attack them with his four-seamer, and that's fine. In fact, the last start, the one against the Orioles, they have a good amount of lefties. This was a 6-inning, 2-earned run game with 6 strikeouts, 8 base runners, based on four-seamers and sinkers. He only had 2 whiffs on secondaries. Like, what? You're supposed to have this ridiculous sweeper and changeup and curve, and that's supposed to be it. That's what we saw against the Mariners, for example. So that gets me really excited about Will Warren's. Why we've seen these strikeouts is because this sinker is now this backdoor pitch to right-handers as well that he's really good at commanding. I'm really excited about this. I love the idea of a pitcher showcasing multiple ways of making it work and through command as well as he continues to pitch throughout the season. And that's generally what we think of when we think of development. I'm excited for he's in a great situation too with the Yankees. He's going to get wins, going to get run support. They need him to start as much as possible really this season. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm all in on Will Warren.
Love it. I love to hear the things that kind of have you changing your mind as you go through.
There are no guns to stick to, guys. Okay, there are no guns. It's just whatever the stuff that's happening. I'm like, okay, well, this is happening. That's it.
And there's no guns to stick to on the next guy because we've yet to see him in the major leagues. You know who that is, but we'll talk about him after this break. So tier number. Oh,
yeah,
I lied to you. I lied to you.
But you know what? I was hoping you'd catch it before.
What a terrible tease. I teased you all so much that I teased not the tier we're going to talk about now, but the tier we're going to talk about next.
Oh man,
so
the terrible tease. Yes, of course. From Missouri.
So,
just
unfortunately, you get a tier of boring guys, led by number 32, Sonny Gray, number 33, Clarke Schmidt, number 34, Andrew Abbott, number 35, Nathan Eovaldi, number 36, Drew Rasmussen, and number 37, Clay Holmes. What is this not exciting rookie debut tier called?
This is like discretionary period where you have to be quiet and do your homework. And like, you know what? All right, that's fine. I need to do my work. Okay.
It's like a study hall?
Yeah. Yeah, they call it discretionary too, but it wasn't discretionary because we really couldn't do anything. And it's like, that sounds good, but also, man, I just want to talk to people on my phone right now. Sure. You know, and this is not that super fun tier.
This actually fits because this is a little bit of like the eat your veggies tier. You're like, I know I should, but like, really? Fine. I have to.
And also, I don't like that language. It actually fits. Of course it fits. I'm giving it, Eric. It always fits.
It's true.
Like Richard.
Yes. Back in the rotation.
Yeah, I know he's on the list.
He should be, but he will be next week. It's fine.
Maybe.
Nathan Eovaldi, just for everybody to know, is not making a rehab start. He's jumping right back into the rotation. So everything Nick said earlier about Imanaga and the still ill and all of that is amplified when you don't even have a rehab appearance. And this is basically a rehab appearance. Speaking of which, Richard Fitz, who the Red Sox pulled off the rehab assignment early and brought into the rotation, and they were 2 bad starts and then put him back on a rehab assignment. So I am not going to start Eovaldi this week. We'll see what happens. But yes, Eovaldi belongs in this general vicinity of guys, along with Andrew Abbott, who I continue to not figure out. Every time I'm like, hey, I'm in on Andrew Abbott, he has a bad outing, and then I'm out on Andrew Abbott and he has 2 good outings, and I don't know. I can't make up my mind.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's one of those where you just close your eyes. I mean, yeah, you want to talk about the veggies tier, you just do it. Clarke Schmidt, I will mention, much more love than I'm used to giving him because I stopped and recognized, man, that cutter has really come along. It is a 20% plus swing strike rate pitch. That is incredible for his most thrown offering. So huge props there.
I literally gave a presentation that mentioned him at First Pitch Arizona. I was so in on him. Then he got dinged up in the spring. And I was like, and I dropped him down my rankings a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't know how to rank Clarke Schmidt at all in the preseason.
I wound up going in another direction in a lot of leagues. Like I have some shares of him, but not as much as I thought I was going to when I was like doing my offseason prep. And now I'm like, man, I wish I had a lot more Clarke Schmidt on my teams. It's a bummer. You gotta stick to your guns. There are no guns, but if there were guns, you would stick to them.
There we go.
It's important. Now it's the time. Tier number 7 starts with number 38, Chase Burns. Number 39, Nick Pivetta. Number 40, Shane Baz. Number 41, Eury Perez. Number 42, Luis Castillo. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
Oh man, this is spring break. So the reason for that is obviously you're looking at it and you get amped. You see it. It happens. But then by the time you're done with spring break, you're really sad. So it could easily be that situation with these pitchers. We have obviously Shane Baz here. I'm so stoked about. I've been looking forward to this moment for him where he has the cutter that he's leaning into. He's got the four-seamer still. He's got the curveball still. Finally, he has that really 3 strong pitches, and the changeup still exists, and that could get better too. You have Chase Burns. I mean, I want to say your company's computer guy, but that's an old SNL reference. And I don't know what to call him. We tried to go through different nicknames in chat today. I like the Pyro. I don't know. You Chase Burns when you do that. When you're a Pyro. And just that seems like, yeah, that's cool. Apparently his nickname is the Viper, though. And I'm like, do you know how elements work? Like, that's poison. This is fire damage. What are they doing? I don't know. Doesn't make sense to me, but I'm excited for him. Pick him up everywhere. Everything, you know, what was he? 2nd overall pick last year?
Yeah.
And 5. I'm so sorry. 5.
No, you're right. 2nd overall pick. Right. I'm saying there are 5 players who were in last year's draft who are already in Major League Baseball.
Nick Kurtz.
Yep.
Cool. No, Jack. Okay.
Jack Caglione.
Okay. Who was the number 1 overall?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Is there another pitcher?
He's not up. Well, Chase. I mean, you haven't said Burns
Chase
yet.
Petty though. Was going to guess
is 3.
Chase Burns. Dang.
Christian Moore.
Who?
And Christian Moore.
Who?
Second baseman for the Angels.
Who?
and Cam Smith.
Oh, Cam Smith. I should have gotten that one. That's the one I should have gotten. Oh man, so is Chase Burns gonna be the best one? Is there Nick Kurtz or Jock?
I mean, like you're talking about in general,
just
like
this year.
I think. Oh, this year, Jack. I mean, Nick Kurtz has been really good. Oh, obviously, Travis Bazzana was the first pick for the Guardians. Right. I think Nick Kurtz will be the best this year, but I think that Chase Burns is very, very good and might be the best overall.
Well, obviously he's the best one. The other ones are cardboard cutouts. Okay. All right. Just for the purpose of allowing us to pitch. And Chase Burns should be drafted everywhere. I do not suggest starting him tomorrow. I know. There's a rule. And you know it, Eric. You don't start pitchers in MLB debuts.
Right.
You just don't do it.
Especially in maybe the worst ballpark for pitchers against the Yankees.
I mean, the Yankees are kind of weird.
They are kind of weird, but they're an offense that I would prefer not to target with a rookie pitcher. But no, yes, they had that stretch where they scored 6 runs in 5 games.
Yeah, like, I know, Eric. Okay. All right. What happened during that stretch? I don't know. Maybe they were swept by the Red Sox. Do you know them, Eric?
I do know that. And actually that's who Chase Burns gets next at Fenway.
It's at Fenway.
And then he goes to Philadelphia. It's not a good first 3 games in terms of opponents for Chase Burns.
They put him in the fire. You know what I'm saying?
They did. They put him right into the fire. They didn't have to chase it.
I mean, he could do it.
Just came to him.
Yeah. The See, it works.
Speaking of cutters, you love cutters. Shane Baz has a cutter now.
I know. So I'm saying it's great. I'm a fan. Actually, Nick Pivetta is also kind of toying with one. And it's kind of weird. Statcast can't figure it out, but there's one at like 91, 92 miles per hour now. And I'm like, yes, that's what's up. And EURY Perez, guess what? His slider is getting better now. And I really think we're like 1 or 2 starts away from that actually really working. So that's where I am.
Here's my question to you.
Yes.
Do you not have Sandy Alcantara PTSD? Because we were like, hey, we're 1 or 2 starts away from it clicking for Alcantara.
Oh, well, when we get to Alcantara,
You're
explain everything about it. It's very
well,
simple.
but Yuri Perez's last start had me feeling a certain way where
Mm.
he was cruising
Mhm.
until it was the 5th inning this start, I believe.
Yeah, something like that. Then he wasn't careful like KRIS, and it all just came apart. Yeah.
Right. But that's kind of like how we were doing with Sandy Alcantara for a while early on. It was like, oh, this is the start. This first 5 innings are good. And then it
Well,
collapsed. And we
okay,
were kind of like,
so
well, this is what
I'm
happens
not
when you're
even
coming
thinking
off injury.
about EURY inside these starts. I'm just saying, what skills is he developing right now? Don't even
Sure.
think about it as the game itself.
I
And
guess my question
yeah.
is more, are you worried about the typical inconsistency of guys coming off of such a long layoff? And even though the skills might be good, we might not see consistent production from him for
Yeah,
another
it's
4
about
starts.
are there steps being taken? Are there things
Okay.
that are improving each time? And I actually see EURY throwing much better commanded fastballs than Sandy Alcantara, for example. I see him locating breaking balls already. That's very good. If you remember when EURY was good, it was just slider and curve with fastballs. And we've seen the curve work in a game. We've seen the slider work in a game. The only thing really is it's actually a mental approach a little now. He's throwing a lot of on the black away 4-seamers to lefties. And he actually has a 4-seamer that should really work well upstairs. And it's not really something he's turned to so far. But the fact that he is executing a game plan, in my view, is a huge deal. I would love if he had a changeup, but he won't. And that's fine. But EURY Perez with a good slider and a good curve to go with his fastballs should just still be good enough. And then there's a step forward after that. So I think innately it's just a better situation than where Sandy is right now. And we'll talk about him later.
We will. Moving on to kind of the almost the polar opposite of Yuri Perez is number 43, Noah Cameron. Number 44, Nick Lodolo. Number 45, Matthew Boyd. Number 46, Merrill Kelly. Number 47, Casey Mize. Number 48, Lucas Giolito. Number 49, Shane Smith. What's the tier called? Why is it called that?
This is the assembly. Like, going to an assembly, I gotta say, I don't know how it would feel as a kid. I'm like, all right, I guess we gotta go to this thing, but now I gotta sit awkwardly, and then your back gets kind of hurt, you know, and you're not really like, you're just sitting there trying to whisper to your friends and stuff, but it's just like, whatever, just like, when will this end? And then we can do things. And you don't really want to focus on what's going on, but you're gonna go through it, and you're like, this is still better than like history class. So fine. Yeah, this is pretty much your Holly and Toby tier. I had 2 different ones, and I'm kind of just gonna make this one like the morning assembly. That's like, all right, you know, not so bad. That's a little more lively.
I kind of like. I kind of enjoyed history class. I might have taken that.
Oh
over
yeah, me in history class. It was actually I was one of the very few in my school who did not take history senior year.
Really?
Yeah, I got out of it. I had 3 AP courses in a language, so I was able to only have to do 4. But I just could not understand history. Look, you have to understand at that point in my life, I didn't know I had ADHD and anxiety, and I'm medicated now, thankfully. But I just did not understand. No one explained to me how I'm supposed to write an essay about a topic that isn't me just writing the textbook. When it's not like any creative writing, it isn't like understanding and explaining, you know, oh, cool, this book I read talk about these themes or something. It's like, no, what happened during the Gilded Age? I'm like, okay, like it's right here in the textbook. What am I supposed to do? And that's when I remember that so distinctly. I was like, I'm out. I can't. I don't want to do history anymore. I don't want to do this. So I got out.
I love learning about history.
I mean, I enjoy it now, and right now I totally understand what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to have a general comprehension of it and really talk about it in my own narrative. But back then, I didn't have that. I didn't have any other notes from class or something like that. I just had the textbook to help me. I'm like, what am I supposed to do?
Well, now you would just ask ChatGPT to do it for you, and
oh
you
gosh,
wouldn't have that problem.
I have so many thoughts about that stuff, but we're not going to.
Yeah, that's a podcast for another time. Listen, Noah Cameron keeps fighting the good fight.
Yeah,
Cole Reagans is, you know, who knows? The Royals have been silent since he went and got a second opinion. So we know it's rotator cuff. We know Noah Cameron has probably a longer leash than we had thought in the rotation. He makes me incredibly nervous because he is a soft tosser and relies so much on sequencing and hitting his spots. None of the pitches really stand out individually as being like amazing, but the changeup location in particular is like
Changeup's great. The four seam location
excellent.
was last game was great. The cutter
Yeah.
was great. The curveball's great. Like, I get it.
The
92.5 with bad
the
underlying
locations on those are great. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just a guy in a really good rhythm who's got a good
For sure.
array. And I look at the rest of them from this team, and Lodolo is kind of the same way, but Lodolo is a little more volatile than Noah Cameron is also a worse home park.
Better
you have
stuff,
Matthew
worse
Boyd,
command.
who just has his changeup, and the four seamer's not that good of a pitch, but he locates it up and it works. But then again, it's going to be easier to hit a home run soon. You have Merrill Kelly in a really good situation, but his stuff is not very good. But it's location focused, so fine. Casey Mize, who just left his game with cramping. So I'm just like, all right, I'm just not going to touch him right now, but he theoretically could go higher. We have Shane Smith, who's on the decline, I think, just because he hasn't taken another step. The first step was to make sure the 96 was there. Consistently throughout the game, he's there with that, but the breaking balls and the changeup haven't really become these consistent offerings, and it's starting, I think, to crack. And Lucas Giolito, hey, what's up, buddy? You are not firing in all cylinders with all three pitches, and it's kind of driving me nuts because you've now established this tools as well as you can, and you're getting through it. But like, I want to just see that start where it's just like, dude, everything is just there. It is, and I can't really point to that.
I'm going on a mini tangent here because it's related to
I'll take it away,
but I just was checking because I got an alert on my phone. So I looked down and I saw, oh, the Red Sox scored 3 runs in the first inning off Jack Kahanowitz. Awesome. What a great start to the game.
What an alert.
I get another alert. Oh, Walker Buehler gave up 5 runs in the first inning to the Los Angeles Angels, and he had a 4-batter stretch where he went hit by pitch, walk, hit by pitch. 3 of those came with the bases loaded. He walked in a run, hit in a run.
Why is he still in the game?
And I'm like, okay, I guess all of the pitching, all of the pitch mix development they were going to do with Kyle Harrison at AAA is done because they're just going to be like, we can't watch Walker Buehler pitch another major league game right now. And that leads to the Lucas Giolito thing, because how many times coming into this year were we saying, look, Brian Bayo has good pitches and doesn't have 3 pitches firing on all cylinders. Now he's figured out a cutter, but the changeup is just like almost totally gone. I mean, he's
with Bayo?
Like the last game it was better, but no, it's 90 miles an hour now. It is a far worse pitch than it was before.
Spotting that in his sinker and throwing these cutters well.
Sure.
The last 2 games.
Sure.
It's the best I've seen Bayo all year.
But that pitch is, the pitch itself is much worse than it was.
It's not right, but I don't think he was ever going to get it with everything else. I'll take this version of Bayo all day.
That's what I'm getting to now. And then you have the Walker Buehler, and then you have the Lucas Giolito. And at what point do we say, hey, we were super excited for the idea of Andrew Bailey making all these changes and tweaking all of these things, but like, what Red Sox pitcher has actually taken a major step forward at the MLB level? Because like Richard Fitz putting himself on the map, Hunter Dobbins putting himself on the map, those were things that happened in the minor leagues. Garrett Crochet was Garrett Crochet. Like, they didn't make him good.
I'm raising my hand.
Nick?
Oh, yes. Okay, Nick? So Eric Samulski was a teacher. I don't know if you guys know that. Was it Mr. or Professor? Can I say Professor Samulski?
I went by Mr.
I know, because it was high school, but can I call you Prof?
Sure. People call me Mr. S.
Yeah. Mr. S. Oh, God, that's way too cool, Eric. Come on, man. You can't. I have to be such the cool teacher, all right?
I didn't tell them to call me that.
Mr. S.
I think they probably just looked at my last name and were like, can we just say S? And I'm like, sure.
Mr. S. Mr. S. What about Tanner Houck finally finding his splitter for the first half of last year? What about Cutter Crawford?
What about him losing?
What about Nick Pivetta all of a sudden learning the whirly bird and the split and the cutter,
and then not being able to keep it, and then Tanner Houck having a horrible second half, and then having a worse first half.
Good for a moment,
and
they made them better. And Nick Pivetta was someone that was just kind of like whatever, and now he all of a sudden signed a contract with the Padres and is doing well. I think from the things he learned from Andrew Bailey.
Maybe I'm pretty disappointed by the general performance of this Red Sox starting rotation. And
I'm also going to say this, even looking at Lucas Giolito, here are 2 things that I've already heard about quick adjustments to improve him since coming back.
The new
1,
slider grip, for sure.
Slider grip is 1. 2, after the 1.2 innings one, they compared his skeletal biomechanics to before and after, and he's been much better since. And those are the things that great. You know, I look at Walker Buehler and I think, this is a guy who only just recently said, okay, maybe I'll start listening. I mean, just think about that for a second, right? I mean, I talked to some people from the Dodgers and they were very much like, yeah, we know what you're talking about, Nick. They just don't care. They won't talk to us. They're just very stubborn about what they do. And they didn't really say what exactly who they were, but I could probably guess a few of them. And Walker Buehler was certainly one of them. So that doesn't surprise me there. Hunter Dobbins, I mean, look, when it comes to pitcher development, there's a side of like, let's try and figure out what you can do with pitches and see like, does this work? Does that work? You can only do so much with that. It's on the pitcher ultimately with it. But the thing that you can do as a pitching coach is choice, is approach. And I will give the Red Sox credit, massive credit, for really pushing anti-fastballs. And we see it now across the majors a ton because it is successful. And the Red Sox absolutely leaned as hard as anyone into that, and it helped them out. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to say that you got to put some blame here on Brian Bay. You got to put some blame here on these other guys for not being that thing. It's not Andrew Bailey not being an effective thing.
No.
And I'm going to throw one more at you, Eric. They did help Garrett Crochet. When he didn't have as good of a four-seamer, they worked with him to stop throwing it as much, throw that cutter more, throw the sweeper more, throw the sinker more. That was a different thing that we saw from last year. And then eventually he got back to the four-seamer that he had or closer to it. Right? Those are things that are not just Garrett Crochet doing that. So I don't know. If you want to blame somebody, blame the Red Sox as a whole as an organization, not Andrew Bailey.
Well, no. I'm not. Listen, and I want to be clear. I'm not blaming.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry to put that word in your mouth.
Yes, I'm saying I'm and maybe again it's Red Sox bias. I am a Red Sox fan, but I just find that like those guys. Well, first of all, I bought into a Walker Buehler narrative in the preseason that has not come to pass, and whatever. As you wrote in the list, he should not be on rosters, and he should not be on rosters, and he might not be on the Red Sox roster.
I had
by
him
the
at
end
like
of this week.
60s or something like that because maybe it was going to work. Maybe it didn't.
Right.
Okay, we move on.
I'm a little. I mean, Tanner Houck was a mess before getting hurt. I'm a little disappointed in the general trajectory of Bayo and Giolito. I get that Bayo has looked a lot better in the last month, and so hopefully it's turning a corner. But it's a lot of stop and start. Anyway, that's a tangent of just saying,
it's a fun one.
Giolito has looked really good in moments. Has maybe again that's coming off injury, didn't pitch at all last year. General inconsistencies, and it's unfair to connect that to the other struggles of guys who have not consistently developed, but they've shown flashes and then taken a step back and shown flashes and taken a step back. But I have noticed that with the Red Sox, that it seems like every time a guy gets into a groove and you start to get a little excited, then that momentum is not held.
It's a long conversation that I'm going to probably put an end to now. But
yes, you should.
There is, I think that the attribution to pitching coaches and development of organizations is too heavily associated one way or another. Like, for example, some, the Guardians being really good at it or the Giants being really good at it when in fact it was maybe good defenses at the time or just these guys who did well in the minors or it was just a fortunate year or whatever it is. And the actual attribution to pitching coaches, I will say right now, is it's good for some and not for others. Sometimes some philosophies work and sometimes they don't. Sonny Gray was terrible with the Yankees, but then we've seen them work with other guys. It's just how it is. All right, Eric, that's it. We're going to move on to tier number 9.
Well, we are going to do that, but we're going to do that after this break. I was going to say we'll put a pin in that until we get to another new pitcher, but I see how far down you have him on the list, so we're not going to do that. But we're going to talk about number 50, Cade Horton. Number 51, Matthew Liberatore. Number 52, Michael Wacha. Number 53, David Peterson. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
This is this is the one right before Thanksgiving break that it's like the Thanksgiving assembly or whatever.
Okay.
And you're just like waiting for this to end. But you know, also once you get to that, there's no more class. So that's fine. So like you're
So it's
willing
like
to
kind of
have
good.
this.
Yeah.
But it's like you just want this, like, okay, whatever. That's
Yeah.
the thing. And you move on.
I got this question on our Q&A today. Every Monday at noon, James Shiano and I do a Q&A on the Roto World YouTube page.
That's a free spot on the bingo card, guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I did just want to point out, somebody asked, should we use weather as an excuse for Cade Horton's last start? And I think yes. He allowed only 2 earned runs in that start. There was the terrible error by Vidal Brujan. Also, the wind in Colorado. I keep saying Colorado for that Wrigley series because it was, but like Pete Crow Armstrong misplayed 2 balls in center field, which he never does because he's a tremendous defensive outfielder. And so, yes, Cade Horton didn't look great. Yes, Cade Horton has not missed bats the way that we maybe hoped because the 4-seam fastball is a cut fastball and it's not a swing and miss pitch and blah, blah, blah. But I do really think that the mediocre last start, a lot of it did have to do with the conditions and not just like, hey, he wasn't good.
Yeah. So, Eric, do you know how hard it is for Pete Crow Armstrong to field that ball when he's slowly turning into a pumpkin? It is really difficult. I'm just kidding. He's not going to do it. He's amazing. He's a superstar. But I just like the idea of him like in the outfield fielding, and all of a sudden it's like orange bits are coming out. Like, no, it's supposed to last for 3 more months. No, he's going to be an amazing thing forever. And I love, of course, Rookie of the Year. And the fact that he's a Cub is just the coolest thing ever.
Yes.
With his mom, of course, being the mother of Henry Rowan from that movie.
Yes.
Anyway,
amazing callback.
Cade Horton, I think, is really good when it comes to the skill set, but he really hasn't taken that next step forward yet. And I hope to see it soon. That it makes me really excited for him as a proper Holly, that we just like 6 innings every time with that cut fastball and curveball and sweeper, and then maybe some changeup in there and all that kind of stuff. But we're not quite there yet.
We're not. We're also not quite there we're getting there with the guys in tier number 10 though. Number 54, Landon Roop. Number 55, Jose Soriano. Number 56, Grant Holmes. Number 57, Gavin Williams. Number 58, Ben Kasparius. Number 59, Mick Abel. What's this tier called and why is it called that?
So this is my physics class, and it's really my teacher that I had. I don't want to say his name because he was someone in freshman year who we loved and also was terrified of, because if you weren't paying attention, you were talking, he would literally throw chalk at you. And he would whip it, and he was very like extreme and whatnot. And then we realized that like he just massively cares about you, and like if you show up early in the day, like he will just help you do all the homework and stuff and make sure that you learn and figure it out. And that's kind of what this is. It's like you just want these guys to learn and figure it out, and you know how good they can be. And you know who you are, physics teacher. If you're listening somehow, there's no way you're listening. Yeah, you helped all these guys learn, and you just want the best for them. But sometimes, we aren't going to get it anyway.
I'll shout out 9th grade physics teacher, Flo Turkenkopf. Flo, if you're listening, love the class.
Wow, that is a name.
One of my favorite teachers.
What was the nickname? You just call him Flo.
We just called her Flo. Well, she referred to herself as Flo. That's what we called her.
And then she became the progressive.
Yes, then she did become the progressive lady. Yes, awesome physics class. Love that class. Talk about Jose Soriano because he is the cover boy.
No, wait. I'm sorry. The physics teacher was named Flo?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Come on. Okay, Jose Soriano has been amazing for 3 straight games. Curveball was really good last time. Slider also helped out, and the sinker had a game with 16 whiffs on its own. It's been much better to command with that, and I'm surprised that he's as high as he is, but also like when you throw that hard and you have a sinker that moves that much, and then you have this curveball that's working too, it's like, all right, yeah, I got to put you up here. Like we're just gonna run with this as long as it goes.
This is an interesting tier for me because 3 of these guys, Landon Roop, Jose Soriano, and Gavin Williams, I was very into at the start of the year, and it was bumpy early on.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Landon Roop has been mostly fine, but it wasn't great. Here. Yeah, but now it's like, oh, okay. Like in the leagues where I held on, like I guess we're working with it. And Gavin Williams, look at 6 shutout his last time out, but also like under the hood, you're like, it didn't really look that
What?
great.
Okay, Eric,
And
what is going on?
I don't know, but I got to
Eric,
tell you,
what is going on?
I don't know, and I don't know that he does, and I don't know that they do, and I think that, like, I am starting to learn watching him that I don't know. I think he is, that's the idiom of like, oh, he's a thrower, not a pitcher. I think that like the pitch mix changes are helping to raise the floor of a guy who is just not, who's still just learning how to actually pitch and not just be like, I throw real hard and here's my stuff.
But like, okay, so it's 2 ticks down. He's at 94 and change, or like 94.
Well,
hinting
I think
at
that was a
95.
one start blip. That was a
No,
one
2 in a
start.
row.
Was that the first start before that too?
It was he was at 6.3 feet of extension, and then
The extension
6.5.
was another thing. Yeah.
And then he's supposed to be 6.97 feet. This is supposed to be
Yeah.
like an extension boy. This is why I was like, great, throw a cutter. And now that he's like down here and throwing it at 94 to 95, I'm like, what? I don't understand.
Oh.
You still don't even get strikes on your sweeper and your curve. It's just cutter and forcing. But these have been 2 good starts. And I go, what is going on? It's not like he even like located everything amazingly.
I don't know. A lot of foul balls, not a lot of swing and miss. I wonder if the extension stuff is connected to, you're now taking a normal fastball, you're adding 2 variations of the fastball. Is it impacting the way that he is released? Like, I don't know. But what I do know is the results are getting better. And that's without even having his best stuff. And so now I'm thinking, I like the pitch mix. I like how he's evolving. We're seeing a downgrade in the stuff. Can we start to get the raw stuff ticking back up while adding in the cutter and the sinker? And then now we might be actually getting somewhere. But I'm kind of resigned to the reality that I think if Gavin Williams, quote unquote, clicks, it might not be this year. Like, I think there's a bigger learning curve than I anticipated coming into the season. And it's not just like, oh, one thing is going to unlock Gavin Williams. I think there are things that he can get incrementally better at, but I think that there's a lot of consistency that still needs to be gained here.
I don't get it. It's like you finally got the cutter, but then you're like, all right, cool, I'm going to do that, but then not throw 97 anymore and not have 7 feet of extension. Like, what? No, do that too. I don't know. I mean, I look at the last 2 starts and just go, well, great. It's better to be lucky than good. And
Sure.
and I can't say that these. I don't know. It's just weird. I don't have as much faith in Gavin Williams at this velocity and extension. I'm glad it's worked out, but like, I don't know what's next. So we'll see.
I get it. I also get the love. I guess 58 isn't love, but love for Ben Casparius. It's a nice role for him following Shohei Ohtani right now.
It's so good. It's like, oh, cool. I don't want Ohtani on my team because he's just going, like if you have him in your team, your Yahoo team, it's like he's only a starter. I wouldn't have him because you're going to wait like a month or 2 or so before he's actually stretched out long enough to do something. And that means Ben Casparius is just going to keep being the follower.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to keep getting wins. He's, and he didn't even have a great start last time. Only 2 strikeouts, but he got a win. I was like, this is easy. He's only going to get better, I think, over time. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of this.
Love it. I'd go at him where you could as well, if you can, anywhere. To number 11, starts with number 60, Brian Bayo. Number 61, Tanner Bybee. Number 62, Sandy Alcantara. Number 63, Jameson Taillon. Number 64, Chris Pollack. Number 65, Griffin Canning. Number 66, Zach Eflin. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
This one, oh man, this is the lecture where you're just staring at the clock and you're like, that's it. It's just that sound.
I do feel that sound in my bones sometimes. Yeah. We already talked about Brian Bayo on our Red Sox tangent. We mentioned Jameson Taillon a little bit before as well. Griffin Canning has, it hasn't been great as of late. Manaea coming back in a couple weeks, might lead to the end of Griffin Canning in the rotation.
Well, I mean, there's Paul Blackburn still in that rotation, right?
Right. Yes. And there's Frankie Montas in the rotation, but he was so bad in the rehab that, like, is he going to actually stay in the rotation? Who really knows how that's all going to plan out?
No idea.
Maybe Blade Tidwell gets another shot. Who knows? You had some good things to say about Alcantara on the Plus Pitch podcast. I don't want you to rehash all of it, but he was coming off a pretty good outing. However, that was the game I blurbed for our site, and I noticed, as you noticed, the changeup's still not getting whiffs. He has gone back to the slider a lot more in recent.
I said our site. I'm so sorry. I'm our site. What do you mean our site, Eric?
Sorry.
What do you mean?
I blurbed Sandy Alcantara for the Roto World recaps in my shift, not the Pitcherless site, which is another phenomenal site that has tons of great articles. You should check that out.
But you're right. Over 14 whiffs on this changeup with 50% strikes.
Went back to the slider more recently when he had been kind of trending toward the curve. That's still not getting tons of whiffs. And so I think it was like, was it something like a 16% whiff rate on the game, or it was something super low?
He had 6 whiffs overall.
Yeah. I think it was like a 12% whiff rate and an 18% CSW. Like, it was not a really strong CSW outing.
So, I mean, here's the thing. Sandy Alcantara is actually, when he's at his peak, is a lower CSW. And it's something that I remember people mentioning it in a negative light. And no, CSW, if you have a low CSW, it means that there are more balls in play, which can be beneficial if those are outs. The best pitcher in baseball would have a 0% CSW because they would only induce outs in play on like one pitch or so, right? Just think about that in that regard. So it's not necessarily innate negative for it to be lower, but it's what kind of contact, how are you generating those balls in play, etc. And when Sandy Alcantara was at his peak, it was throwing sinkers inside to right-handers, four-seamers up to right-handers, with a slider and a changeup still against right-handers. And then to lefties, he would go upstairs with his four-seamer. He would have a sinker away and then a changeup underneath. And that changeup is not doing the work it used to. It's not the weapon that is striking fear into the hearts and minds of batters. And the four-seamer and sinker are staying away to left-handers, but they're not getting into right-handers. And that's also a huge part of it. So it's why I'm not as excited about Sandy Alcantara, because I'm not seeing that kind of development. As you mentioned, the slider got more involved too. That's fine. We had the curve before, and I guess now he's going back to the slider. Okay, sure. But it's not Sandy, first and foremost, without that changeup just being everything. And all of a sudden, here you go, here's 99. Right? Like, that's what it should be from Sandy Alcantara. So I'm still tepid here. I feel like it's fine, but it's not something that I think is on the verge of that next step.
That's where I'm kind of at right now. I'm still holding and hopeful in deeper formats. I have not yet seen it come to fruition. I'm a little more excited or interested in some of the names in tier 12. But starts number 67, Ryan Nelson, number 68, Edward Cabrera, number 69, Yusei Kikuchi, number 70, Hayden Birdsong, number 71, Didier Fuentes, number 72, Kumar Rocker, and number 73, Jacob Lopez. What's this tier called, and why is it called that?
This is today's lunch. Look, you're hungry. You're going to be excited about it. But let's be honest. I mean, the cafeteria food, you don't really actually, it's not really that good. You're probably going to go out and get something anyway.
If you can. Yeah, if you can.
Yeah.
Hamburgers bounce off the ground. That's more my elementary school than my high school. But
yeah, that is not high school. Oh my gosh, no.
No. I'm still in on Edward Cabrera. I'm a fan of what he's doing. I think this is the best version of Edward Cabrera that I've remembered seeing in a while. For an extended
now
period
that the sinker is
time.
being thrown more than the four-seamer.
Yeah.
Please keep doing that, Edward.
Ryan Nelson in the rotation gets the White Sox this week. That's lovely.
Ryan Nelson's last start in Toronto had an IVB over 21. And it wasn't like a super steep attack angle. Think about that for a second. Absolutely bonkers. All he needs, just something else. Like I think he had a 50% or lower strike rate on every other pitch than his four-seamer. And I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, Ryan, please just like literally take that four-seamer and just tilt it and throw that, just so it's different. So it's just in some way different than the four-seamer, and that should be fine. Oh, it feels so close to that breakout. And it's the White Sox is the perfect scenario after you see that kind of data. And that honestly, he survived against the Blue Jays because of it. They couldn't do much with that four-seamer. It's kind of like, hey, Bowden Francis, this is how you do it, buddy. And now it's like set up in its perfect way. So I'm really excited about that. He's my streaming pick for Tuesday. Ryan Nelson, I highly recommend you go and get him and see how this goes.
I'm with you on that one. And then listen, I think I'm out on Didier Fuentes for this year. Fastball's great. I don't think there's much else. And the minor league stats were like fine, but not great for a 20-year-old who's being thrust into an MLB shot. And then I can't tell you how Jacob Lopez is doing what Jacob Lopez is doing, but it feels very much Noah Cameron, Ryan Yarbrough, Brandon.
Okay, so you said the right one there. Noah Cameron and Ryan. They're very different.
Brandon Walter.
Yarbrough. It is Yarbrough with to a T. Like the ideal Ryan Yarbrough outing was the last one against the Astros because it was all these righties, and I could just hear Eckersley saying it's salad. I could just hear that in my head. You know exactly what I'm talking about, Samulski. Okay, where Ryan Yarbrough would throw these changeups and sliders away and these cutters that never would get quite back to the zone, like all these things outside, and batters would just get so anxious and so upset that they just want to hit. They know they can hit it if it's just closer to the plate, closer. So they would swing at it anyway and then get themselves out. This is what Jacob Lopez did. He had 21 whiffs though, because it was beautiful. He would just go on the outside edge with his cutter coming back and get these called strikes and bother them. And then he would throw these four-seamers away. And the thing is, we used to laugh, Eric. We would laugh. I told you the story of my coach saying, what do you do in an 0-2 count? You throw a fastball away. And we go, no one ever swings at a fastball away. They did with Jacob Lopez. They did. And they got themselves out. They got the whiffs on outside fastballs because they're just so anxious to swing at them. It was cool. I got to say it was cool. He has good extension too. I just don't know if that command can always be there. We've seen bad games from Jacob Lopez, but it's cool. If he's going against a heavy right-handed team, I think that works. Against lefties, maybe still works because the slider might be good enough, and that's fine. It's kind of cool. What is really cool, though, have you noticed what Kumar Rocker has done at all?
I honestly, no.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to blow your mind. Go to the pitch display page right now. Look at the pitch mix for Kumar Rocker. It is so fun. And as you do that, I'm going to talk about Didier Fuentes. Really good four-seamer upstairs, as you mentioned, 96. Unbelievable 1.9 height adjusted VA or something like that. Like incredible with like a 16 vert, right? Then there isn't much underneath it. He actually is going to probably get good runway because you have Chris Sale out now, and also Bryce Elder's terrible. Why not just do this? So it's a good situation that he's in. He might just kind of get thrusted into it. It was a really bad curveball that was front door. Not really front door, but just like, his backup one to a righty that they knew they would be a curveball because the man on second, first pitch, the big dude, the man on second, Augustine, was like, yeah, what's up? I'm going to hit this guy down the line. And he did. And that's a 3-run shot. And that ruined the ball game against the Marlins. An MLB debut. But it's a really good four-seamer. So I'm kind of interested in that because you really start getting to the messes of like what is real, what isn't. And we could see something new a little bit from Fuentes. But what did you notice, Eric Samulski, about Kumar Rocker?
Well, there's a lot of cutters being thrown recently.
Oh my gosh. And did you see how good those are over the course of the season?
Did.
Well, how good are they?
Well, I can tell you right now, first of all, I was looking at just the heat map from the last start is really nice. Like they were just really well spotted.
Like down and gloves on everything, the lefties and righties.
But I see a 74% strike rate.
Yeah.
Which is 91st percentile.
And what is this?
I see a basically 24% swinging strike rate.
Just stop right there. Just stop it. What is the usage in the last 3 games?
Well, the last game, it was almost 42% sliders, 22% sliders the game before that, and then 48.5% sliders the game before that.
Okay, so Kumar Rocker is someone who just
and the slider has vanished.
Yes, his curveball has vanished. But and this is not like, oh, this was the slider. No, this is like a 92. This is
the old slider was 84. This is
Yeah.
90 around.
Yeah.
Very different pitch.
Oof.
But as you and Eno talked about a bunch on the craft, Kumar Rocker against lefties was an issue. It's his plan against lefties. Obviously, the cutter could be a pitch that helps there.
Oh yeah.
But I'm curious why the slider has totally vanished. I will say, like, we do this all the time when we record on Monday, and I always say, hey, there's one guy, there's a TBD spot on my Wednesday article about starting pitcher news where I break down pitch mix changes, and I think the TBD spot is now about to be Kumar Rocker because there's so much.
Oh my gosh, Eric! I just I'm happy I can help you.
You do. I appreciate.
Who are the other ones?
You make me better.
Oh, stop that! You make me better, Eric. Who are the other ones?
I haven't yet. I already allotted a slot for the Chase Burns pitch mix review. I'm going to watch the game and then write up Chase Burns's pitch mix. And then I have Michael Soroka.
I'm still just thinking Chase Burns, your company's computer guy. It's in my head and I hate it so much. Sorry, Chase Burns.
Michael Soroka.
I just interrupted you on.
Michael Soroka.
Oh, Soroka's changing things? Change up?
A little bit. And also, Michael Soroka and Grant Holmes, I am looking into because if you look at like from May 1st on, they're actually like in the on the top 20 in strikeout minus walk rate in all of baseball.
Well, sure.
So I'm kind of like, okay, what is fueling this recent run of success? Is it something that is believable and
15
actionable?
Strikeouts against the Rockies will help a little bit,
Right. Well, and we'll get to Soroka later.
Oh man, I'm trying to think of who are the major pitch mix guys. I would think of Boz with the cutter being introduced as something that might be
Boz with the cutter, but I just covered him. I covered Bayo with the cutter the last time. There was
like Kikuchi actually throwing a lot more curveballs last game. There's
and the different grip for him. There was Cade Povich with the curve before he got hurt.
Man. Did you see what Mitchell Parker did in his last game?
No.
Oh my gosh, Mitchell. I mean, he's on the list because it's not a good matchup now, but I mean, maybe he is actually. Maybe I left him on. I don't know. Mitchell Parker went legitimate Blake Snell blueprint. It was four seamers up and curveballs down, and I was just like, wait, what? You can literally just divide it in half, and I couldn't believe it. It was so beautiful. I was like, how did you finally just do this? And I don't know if it's actually going to stick or not, but that was just really cool. Okay. What I do want to mention is that Kumar Rocker, it makes so much sense to me if he just goes, look, you just do cutters to both sides of the plate. You got that down. Okay. Nailed it. Awesome. Now you have your four seamer that you save for righties. You keep that upstairs. Then you do the sinker that's inside to righties. I'm sorry. The four seamer goes up to lefties. The sinker goes into righties. And then you throw a curveball to lefties and a slider to righties. That's it. I figured out your approach, Kumar Rocker. It's pretty easy. You have all the things. You've gone through them all the entire season. Why? Like every game, it's a different thing. And I'm not talking about, oh, he faced more righties or he faced more lefties, and that's why it's different. No, it's just always different. And I don't get it. And hopefully we get it soon. So there you go. There's an interesting ones. Oh, also Hayden Birdsong's fastball is now at 94 and change. I'm like, what? Ugh.
I'll tell you what is a couple of these guys in the next tier. Starts with number 74, Sora Gibson Long. Number 75, Kevin Gossman. Number 76, Charlie Morton. Number 77, Zach Gallen. Number 78, Bailey Ober. Number 79, Jack Leiter. Number 80, Ben Brown. Number 81, Jose Barrios. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
Well, I have a good one for this, but I'll tell you after this break. I literally had it, Eric, and I said, oh, no, wait, I'll use it for the next one because that makes so much more sense. And then I just forgot it. And I was like, no, wait, no, come on, Nick. High school. No.
I can't help you.
What is it? It was this is the hipster tier. So it was a headache. What induces a headache? Or something that was inducing a headache in high school?
Studying, homework.
No. I don't know. All right. Here we go.
Dating.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Just saying it induces a headache. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, man. Okay. All right. Here we go. So this one, so Eric, here we are. We're tier 13. All these guys, you know, this is that time when you have a different thing of fashion, and you might wear some, you know, a little bit of some flannel. You might be like, oh, yo, that's not really that cool. You know, whatever. I listened to that band before you did. You want to hear this band? It's really cool. Because this is the hipster tier. They can do some pictures stuffing the entire roster.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of headaches, just going to throw this out there right now. We're recording this Monday night. Bailey Ober gave up 7 runs in 7 innings today against the Mariners.
7 runs, 7 strikeouts.
Yeah, it was all 7.
7 walks.
7.
Just kidding.
Lucky 7s on the slot machine. And Ben Brown gave up 8 runs on 9 hits in 5 innings to the Cardinals. And you have to wonder how long Ben Brown is for the rotation because they have a 7-game week this
rule,
week.
Eric. He breaks it.
I think he's going to be off the list next week, is my guess.
He might be.
But and then look, Gowan. I mean, I don't know. Like,
he's not going to be on the Diamondbacks, I don't think.
And Sawyer Gibson Long, as you wrote in the breakdown, like probably really interesting for 2026. The usage for him this year is going to keep him low. I was so in on Jack Leiter early in the year, and we talked about this because the year started well, and so you kind of have that confirmation bias, and it's just been, I mean, like him being unable to get through the 5th inning against the Pirates the last time out, the command is just not really there. It's almost coming to an end for Jack Leiter. And if either like John Gray or Cody Bradford was like healthy, he'd be out of the rotation, I think.
Yeah. This is a P's situation, right? Poor execution, awesome stuff. I just want him to get more runway and hopefully tweak as much as Kumar Rocker does, honestly. Like, figure this one out. 4-seamer slider should be the foundation of this, really being sure that you are getting that pitch separation, and that should be the focus. I want to see you miss all the way up and all the way down on sliders, 4-seamers and sliders respectively, right? Like really, really lean in it if you can. And then hopefully fill in the zone with other things. I think it'll take some time. And if you have them on your rosters, it's just you're crossing your fingers. You can take the tiara off, right? Turn it around right away kind of guy. Charlie Morton, on the other hand, I mean, he's just doing well all of a sudden since returning back from the rotation. We're like, what? Really? Okay, fine. This isn't going to last very long, but okay.
Well, somebody on Twitter was like, just the Braves should just go get Charlie Morton right now. It's like, maybe they should. I mean,
well, no, the Orioles aren't giving up. They need Charlie Morton so badly.
The Orioles need to give up. They're done. It's over.
No, it's not over. They're 6.5 out of the wild card. I know they have 7 teams ahead of them, but still.
Yeah. I mean, it will be over. It might not be over now, but it will be over.
Yeah.
It's not over for Michael Soroka, who leads off tier number 14. It's number 82, Michael Soroka. Number 83, Michael McGreevy. Number 84, Jeffrey Springs. Number 85, Chad Patrick. Number 86, Clayton Kershaw. Number 87, Dustin May. What's this tier called and why is it called that?
This is summer reading because you just got to get it done. And you're like, all right.
And sometimes it's great. And you feel better for having
it's great. That's a good point. You just got to get it
done. Soroka, listen, the strikeouts were there against the Dodgers, man.
Okay, those were some weird strikeouts.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I know it wasn't like a dominant outing, but you're like, okay, there are things, if you start to squint, you're seeing things moving in the right direction. Not, hey, Michael Soroka is an ace. Like, Michael Soroka is great. I get why you're ranking him here. I think it's totally fitting. But I mean, and the Rockies were certainly to blame for the 9 strikeouts before, but look, 2 starts before that, 7 strikeouts and 6 shutout against the Rangers. Like, there have been some pretty good starts mixed in over the last month.
I just can't believe that Tommy Edman check swung on that 80-mile-per-hour spiked curveball at 1-2 that hit him in the knee. I was just wild. But then again, he did throw 87 past Freddie Freeman for a foul tip. That was pretty cool. I don't know. It's I want to believe it. I really do. And I also just keep going back to the idea, like, right, the curveball can be very good for Michael Soroka. how good are the fastballs actually? And the changeup is still developing, but I'm okay going with this right now and seeing where it goes.
Yeah, that's fair. It seems like, interestingly, he started the year throwing the slider and not throwing the curveball, and then he started throwing a curveball and not the slider. And this is something that I'm looking into in the article because their shapes are different. The speed on them is relatively similar. He's kind of like amped up the changeup usage also a little bit in those good starts, like in the Rangers start and in the Dodgers start. There was a lot of changeups. It is obviously a primary pitch for lefties, and so the Dodgers in particular do have tons of lefties they run out there. But I don't know. I think in deeper formats, he's catching my eye in those deeper formats.
No, I'm completely with you there. I mean, some of those curves had some vicious movement to it, so I get it.
Yeah. Michael McGreevy is somebody, interesting to see if he sticks in the rotation. He's getting another start. Are they going to let him stay for a long period of time or not?
His movement, sorry, not his movement, his command is so good.
Yeah.
It's really good. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you have a great defense behind you. This could be so cool. So we'll see what happens in McGreevy. But I feel like I remember at the beginning of the year, they said, oh man, we're going to make this a 6-man to make sure that he gets the rotation. They're like, we'll give it to Liberatore. Like, what? And now they're actually doing that and executing it. I'm like, good, cool. That seems fun because also it seems like they're recognizing, oh man, wait, hold on a sec. We might have a shot. I don't know.
Right.
So because right now the Cardinals are 3.5 back of the Central behind the Cubs, which is shocking to say the least. They are above the Padres in the wild card. And I gotta say, props to Atlanta for trying to get back into this. Okay, they were so far out, and at least they're somewhere in the conversation now. But yeah, McGreevy is better than some of their starters currently. So I think that they're recognizing that, and they're going to let him fly from here.
Sure. The next tier is guys you're flying with this week primarily. Guys were all, except for one, all unranked last week. Starts number 88, Tyler Anderson. Number 89, Eduardo Rodriguez. Number 90, Tomoyuki Sugano. Number 91, Jose Quintana. Number 92, Quinn Priester. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
The crush on that one person because they were just nice to you randomly. Because it goes away in a week.
That one time.
Yeah, they shared you some gum. And that gum loses flavor after a moment. And that's your double bubble. Which is a certified pitcherless phrase, a double bubble. When it seems really sweet at first, and then you realize, why am I still chewing on this? I understand Eduardo Rodriguez. I mean, Eduardo Rodriguez came through in his first one tonight. I did these rankings beforehand, but 6 innings, 10 strikeouts, and 0 runs against the White Sox. Good stuff. Sugano gets the Rangers. That should be fine. Quintana gets Rocky Road. Quinn Priester also gets Rocky Road. And Tyler Anderson is getting the Red Sox on the road. So all of those are like, yep, I want to stream these fellas. And then it's probably back to the wire after that.
Yeah. I don't know about you. I fell hard in high school. I didn't have a lot of double bubbles. I had things that lasted longer than it should have. Just wrenching my heart out, Nick.
Oh man. Eric, Mr. S.
More of the Jack Leiter situation where you're like, why am I still doing this to myself? Let it go, man. Just let it go.
Oh gosh.
We end with tier number 16. Starts with the number 93. Finally back off the IL, Max Scherzer. Number 94, Luis L. Ortiz. Number 95, David Festa. Number 96, Eric Lauer. Number 97, Trevor Rogers. Number 98, Brandon Pfaadt. Number 99, Zach Littell. And number 100, Frankie Montas, apparently junior now. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
This is the all-nighter because like, yeah, this is totally going to work. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
It doesn't. You know what worked tonight? Trevor Rogers. 8 shutout innings against the Rangers.
So here's the thing. I had Alex Fast say, hey, I don't know if you noticed, but Trevor Rogers, like, really good. I think you got to make sure you talk about it. I'm like, did you read what I wrote after his 2.1 inning start? It was so bad. Eric, you should go and read it right now. It's on the player page for Trevor Rogers. You'll see that I say, I think he just pitched amazingly well. And like, this is amazing. And like, I'm just going to say he could do really well against the Rangers. It could really work out. And bam.
I wrote about him after that first start in my starting pitcher article because he made a lot of changes, and I was like, listen, if he comes back up, like I think this could be a better version of him. And then he came back up, and it was not a good start stat wise.
Yes,
but then you're like,
four seamers upstairs and changeups and sliders down, and we'll look at him like, how did this not go well? Oh, really bad third inning. That was just stupid. Okay, cool. Right. This could go really well against the Rangers and Rays, but like I have him at 97 because I'm like, there's no, there's no real dangling carrot at this point.
Well, he's given us nothing over the last 2 years to assume,
and to expect 8 shutout is just what?
Yeah, but listen, maybe now somebody to do a little bit of a deeper dive on, somebody to take some consideration, because the Orioles need starting pitching, and so if he's going to even be remotely competent,
but wait, the Orioles aren't going to make it, so they're just going to deal him that, right?
Well, they're probably going to deal other people.
Yeah,
like I think
Zach
Eflin gone.
Wow. Okay, that was vicious.
Tomoyuki Sagano gone.
Sagan no more.
Yeah, Sagan not going to work here anymore. I mean, they're free agents at the end of the year. So when Baltimore drops out, I think those guys get shipped off.
How much money in collective total spend, not AAV, like, if you want to say that the Mets spend or the Dodgers spend over $1 billion, right, in that one offseason. Okay. How much do you think the Orioles are going to spend this offseason?
$100,000.
That's a tease. Oh, and man. $100,000.
$100,000. And then March will come and they'll sign Kyle Gibson
again.
They'll say, you know what? I think Frankie Montas is
who is next year's? Yeah, who's next year's Kyle Gibson, right?
Walker Buehler.
Walker Buehler. Oh no,
guys! 6 walks in 3 innings right now tonight. What a mess.
Oh boy, Eric, I gotta say, it's good to see you.
It's good to see you too. Sorry for everybody listening. It was a little bit of a loopy one today, but you know what? Right. We got a lot of stuff going on. It was late, but we're here. We're having some fun. We're back on the 1s and 2s. We're just happy to be here, and we're gonna keep this rolling. Even when you start falling out of your leagues and everybody starts thinking about the hot summer months, we're gonna be here talking baseball,
entertainment, and we got you.
We got you. We've got knowledge and entertainment here.
Knowledge.
We got you. Knowledge.
Oh, I don't even know that idiot. Whatever his name was. He's got a Ferrari Lamborghini in his garage. Knowledge is more important. Oh God. If you know what I'm talking about, you're like, are you seriously bringing that up right now? I mean, yes, I am. And what a perfect way to end this, Eric.
It is not a better way.
I hope to see you and your lovely, lovely son watching Chase Burns tomorrow night.
You know what? Maybe
MISIOROWSKI and Paul Skeens on Wednesday too.
Maybe we'll log on for a little bit tomorrow, but everybody else should. Playback.tv/pitcherlist.
With a question mark at the end.
We're Nick's there all the time. It's really fun. Even like I was writing the blurbs on Sunday and just had it up and was reading people in the comments, including Nick when the Lucas Giolito started going on.
I just put caps Giolito.
But it's just nice to watch some baseball, and even if somebody's not actively on, there are people chatting, and
there's a chat.
It's really cool.
It's great.
Yeah. But awesome. I'll hope to be there Tuesday and or Wednesday for at least half hour at a time, and we'll check it out. So make sure you go and check that out. You can check us out here again every Monday. We're going to be here on the corner. You can see us on Twitter, read all of our content on both sites, and follow us. Blue Sky, all that good stuff. I am Eric Samulski, the Pelican.
I am Nick Pollack, the Lion.
And I don't have anything fun to say tonight. It's just late, man. We're going to check you out the next one.
We're going to go to bed.
We're going to go to bed.
Get out of here.